God knocked me right on down. He will do it. He'll bring you back to your knees, and let you remember who you serve, or let you remember who you have to go to, who you have to go through to get anything. What's up, family? It's Afro Angie, your local kingdom and community builder. Happy New Year! As we go into 2021, I know that my channel has kind of been all over the place, but in 2020, I finally found my niche, and I am going to be talking all things faith, film, and freedom. But more importantly, I'm just here to support you as you heal and build, because that is also what I'm trying to do. And speaking in which of healing, in 2020, I realized I needed to start to heal. I realized how broken I was, and just all these negative characteristics, poor behaviors, poor decisions, is because I was hurting, and I was trying to continue to cover it up with more accolades, more achievements, but it really wasn't working. And so about June, July, I finally was like, you know what, God, I need you to work in me, I need you to fix this. And the journey has begun. I just want to take y'all a little bit behind the scenes. How did I even get to that point? So basically, I have been an overachiever at birth. God gave me the gift of just being able to pick up quickly on things. I was reading when I was 4. Being the oldest daughter of 5 in a single parent household, I wasn't really a cute little girl, okay? I had nappy hair going to school. I had buck teeth. We didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't have the cutest clothes, but the thing I was always known for was being really, really smart, really achieving. So I didn't really have a lot of friends, but when it came to the awards and the teachers, things like that, that's when I knew, okay, if I can do this good, or if I can be smart, then this is when I'll get the attention that every child needs, honestly. And because God gave me the gift of intelligence, I was always in the gifted and talented classes. And unfortunately, growing up, I was really always the only one, or one of 2 or 3 in my class, if you know what I'm saying. So from a young age, I had to play the model minority. I didn't really have a choice. It was very unnatural at first, but from kindergarten until senior year of high school, somewhere along the lines, you're gonna kind of just identify with whatever your surroundings are. So I kind of internalized a lot of that, and I thought that that was me, you know what I mean? Being the model minority was really all I knew until senior year of high school, when the Black Lives Matter movement first started. And at the same time, I was going to attend an HBCU, which at that time I did not want to do. I was mortified when my HBCU was the only school that gave me a full ride. But God knew what he was doing, okay? And it was probably the best decision that I could have made. But unfortunately, because of that HBCU experience was literally the first time I connected with my people. I'm not exaggerating. So my mom, she always raised us to be very pro-Black. She was the mom that if friends came over on Martin Luther King Day when you didn't have school, well, we were gonna have to watch a movie about Martin Luther King and write a paper about it. She was really intentional about making sure that we knew where we came from and knew what we had to continue to overcome. But at the same time, she had been so hurt by her own people that outside of the educational factor, she kept us kind of away from that. We didn't really go to Black churches. I mean, literally, guys, I felt probably how Mowgli felt going into the human world after leaving the jungle. I'm one of you, but I literally don't know how to be one of you, if you know what I'm saying. What was a Catfish Friday? What was a sorority? I didn't know any of that. It was learning an entirely new language. And so I got to UAPB, and again, I'm constantly shifting, constantly having to adapt. I didn't really know what stable ground was. So I went back to the thing that I was always pretty good at, and that is achieving, being smart. And so I started to run for positions in student government. I did a couple of pageants. Ultimately, I knew that I wanted to be Miss UAPB and show everyone how awesome the school was. because I was so happily surprised when I got there, and all the rumors that I heard and the rumors that probably are still being told, I just didn't have that experience. And so I wanted to represent the school because like it changed my life. So fast forward, God allowed me to win that position of Miss UAPB. And when I won, I only had one goal, y'all. I wanted to compete in the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame pageant as Miss HBCU. And now I am extremely thankful that I won Ebony. I do believe that part of the reason that I won is because I competed in that pageant. But going into the position of Miss UAPB, that wasn't even anywhere on my list of goals. I mean, I only wanted to go to that pageant. I wanted to serve the Pine Bluff community, I wanted to serve my student body, and I wanted to go to that pageant. That was it. And the whole experience, from getting to the pageant to it being in the pageant, it was a fight. It was a struggle. Like, that's the experience where the fall began. I was the first girl, first queen to represent UAPB on a national pageant. Like, this is something that Howard does, NCAT, all these big schools, they do this every year. And for the first time, UAPB was also on that stage with them. But because it was something that really wasn't like as well known, you know, because I was the first person from UAPB, I didn't really have that support that I would have liked. And definitely not the support that the other girls had. Like, I remember doing a showcase, having to like beg people to come, and some people did come. Like, I did have a great support system, but you know, that comparison, that, you know, thief of joy, it just kept creeping up. I would see it on Instagram, the other queens, they would have like their whole school in the auditorium watching them practice, just giving them the confidence that you really need to compete in a pageant. And I didn't have that, and so before the pageant even started, I was already comparing myself, already doubting myself. And I was so focused on getting there and competing that I didn't really like prepare to be in the pageant. But to be honest, I don't think that I could have prepared enough, because when I got there, y'all, the girls were on point, okay? They were just so poised and calm and cool and well-spoken, and you know, I could tell that they were also like naturally in touch with the culture. I was still, you know, kind of trying to learn the culture and trying to learn how to be a pageant girl. Like, everything, I was a fish out of water again. You know, I was truly amazed to see so many elegant young Black women. That was the first time in my life I had seen like just such a high standard across the board. Everybody I was in the room with studied abroad, you know, spoke different languages, had internships with, you know, doctors. I mean, everybody was just on point. And I was like, oh, this is how the girls do it. I was really a hot mess, and some of them made sure I knew that, but I can't blame them because I really was. Like I said, I didn't prepare. I was so focused on what I didn't have and so focused on just getting there that I was very, very ill prepared, and I didn't even place. And so that was like the lowest point of my college career for me, because like I said, not really having that connection, not really having like that, you know, Black experience, the one thing that I was able to do to kind of like find my way is to achieve and to excel, and I couldn't do it there. So I was like, ooh, am I even worth living? Like, you know, I feel like at this point I'm just taking up oxygen. Totally not even that serious, but when you are that like traumatized because you've never connected to anything any other way, I had really kind of put my identity in that. And so when I was taken, or not taken, but when I didn't get that, it was like, ooh, I don't like this. Then I went back to my school trying to like exude the confidence and the finesse that these girls had, and I know it just had to look so fake. And then it probably also looked like I had a big head all of a sudden. And to be honest, I probably did, because after coming from that pageant, I was like, this is how they do at these other schools. You know, they got it. But the thing is, they had it. You know, I was trying to imitate that, but I really couldn't back it up. And I just know it looked a hot mess. Thank y'all for sticking with me, because I know I was a mess. But honestly, from that point until the pandemic, when I began to start this healing journey, like it was just getting worse and worse. I normally showed the world the more reserved side of me. If you know me, you know I've always been, you know, really opinionated, always kind of like a little bit bossy, because I'm the oldest. But to the world, I was, you know, reserved. I would speak last and let everybody else speak. I was interested, not trying to be interesting. But after seeing those girls, like I was like, oh, I never want to feel that low again. I never want to feel like I'm not good enough again, because like I said, that was the only thing that always connected me to people. I was never like, you know, the glamour girl. I was never had the money, never been like cool. But if you're talking about someone who can get the job done, that was me. And I was like, I never want to feel like that again. So I was doing everything I could to make sure people knew like I was the stuff again. And honestly, it wasn't making anybody like me more. It was making people like me way, way less. To be on the outside looking in, I probably would have liked myself way less too. Honestly, I did start to like myself less, and it showed because I wasn't being myself. I was trying to be somebody else. When the pandemic hit, I had to like humble myself again. And I had to remember like the reason that I felt I have struggled to duplicate my previous success is because it was never me in the first place. Like I have never just naturally won the approval of men. Anytime I wanted something, yes, I will work. I mean, the definition of hard work, my name has to be in one of those dictionaries, because that's one thing that I know how to do is work hard. But when it comes to other people's, you know, judgment or opinions, or if they have the final say, I was always counted out my whole life. And I had to remember, like, it was always God. I would always go to him crying, praying, like, God, I know that by their standards, I don't have a chance. But I know that you can change their hearts. Only you can change their hearts. And he always would. I had to remember that it was by grace through faith. It was never about my works. God isn't a genie or a magician. He's just a sovereign and almighty God. His ways are always higher than mine. And I'm so thankful, because even in like going through that experience that kind of gave me like a hard heart, made me feel like I wasn't good enough. That experience kind of led me to finally come to like my senses and be like, okay, you gotta heal. Because all I've done since a little girl, I mean, there's so many other things that I don't have time to get into, but anytime things would get crazy, and things have always been crazy, and I'm sure everybody has a crazy life, the thing that I would go to is achieving. I would just cover up wounds, cover up traumas. I would achieve, to the point where it was like I said, I didn't achieve, oh, I'm not good for anything. I don't even know why I'm here. When really, like, you're here to continue to spread the word. You're here to continue to spread like the good news. Like, if everybody just thought I'm only worth something if I'm doing something, which a lot of us, especially in America, do struggle with. You have what we do see in a lot of like selfishness. You don't have the community. Nobody's really serving because they want to be the one that's being served. And I was definitely about to be just like that. Probably was in some ways, but thankfully God knocked me right on down. He will do it. He'll bring you back to your knees, you know, and let you remember who you serve, let you remember who you have to go to, who you have to go through to get anything. This year, I really am just trying to be so secure in myself without any outside validation. It's going to be a struggle for me because, like I said, that's kind of all I know. It's all I'm used to. But I just want to be content. I want to be content in who God says I am and who God is. Like, of course, I'm naturally going to continue to have goals and aspirations. But even if I don't get another thing, God is still good, and I want that to be enough for me. That is enough for me, but I want to, you know, not continue to feel like, oh, it has to be about me again, you know. And I'm human, and I'm an American, and that's just the culture. But the good thing about God is he supersedes the culture. And so if you're watching this, send one up for your girl, because it will be a struggle, but it's something that I know will be so worth it. And I know that that's really the only thing that can heal me. Like, I've been in therapy, I do journal, but the only thing that really helps me to like truly continue to move forward, and like, you know, life is always going to be hard, but the thing that keeps me going is finding my worth and who God is. So that's really my only goal for 2021, is just to get back to that. And yeah, I'm sure I've been rambling a lot. This video is like really uncomfortable for me, but at the same time, I know that I'm not the only person who struggles with feeling like they have to be the best all the time. That's really what the culture tells you. I mean, when you listen to this rap music or any music really, it's like, I'm the man, I'm the greatest, you know, you ain't hot. It's just like the world tells you you have to be this just head honcho all the time. And I feel like, man, the higher you go, the harder the fall. And that's something that people don't talk enough about to those, especially when you're young, trying to make it. They congratulate you on your way up, but nobody really catches you when you fall. In fact, they're kind of like watching and waiting and sometimes laughing. And so I just really wanted to share this because, number one, I feel really bad about a lot of the things that I've done and said. So I do need to apologize. If you're watching this video, if I, you know, said anything disrespectful to you, please find it in your heart to forgive me. I am working on it. But also, if anybody just happens to come across this video and they have been feeling how I was feeling, like, oh, I'm not doing enough, or I need to let these people know, like trying to just, you know, be really like flamboyant and not humble, it's not worth it. It's truly not worth it, because at the end of the day, you can't control how people think about you, and you don't need to. Like, let people think what they want to think. And at this point, I'm talking to myself too. But if I could tell myself that before the fall began, that's what I would tell myself. Like, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You don't owe anybody anything. And if they're sleeping, let them sleep. Like, they'll see eventually. And if they never do, God is still good. Like, that has to be enough for me. And that's really, I pray that that's enough for any young woman especially, but anybody that's trying to achieve a goal. Like, let God be enough for you. So yeah, that was a lot, but if you watch this whole thing, thank you so much. And until next time, guys, seek the kingdom and serve the community.